She has $412,000 in index funds. They have car payments. There's a woman in your office parking lot who drives a 2017 Honda Civic, same car for 7 years, no payment. Her coworkers lease BMWs, finance new SUVs, upgrade every 3 years. They assume she can't afford better. They feel a little sorry for her, actually. And every single one of them is paying a bill she stopped paying years ago. Today, I want to show you exactly what that bill costs, not per month, but over a lifetime. And I want to show you something most people in that parking lot have never calculated. The gap between how you live and how you look is measurable. It compounds. And over 30 years, it's the difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. We're going to cover 5 forces. Each one is a place where that gap lives, grows, and costs you something you never totaled. By the end of this, you'll have a number, your number, and a clear picture of what it's been doing while you weren't watching. Most people look at that parking lot and ask the wrong question. They ask, why do wealthy people live below their means? That's not the right question. The right question is, what does the gap between how you live and how you look cost in real money, compounded over your lifetime? Because the answer changes everything about how you see the next purchase. Force 1. Every purchase has 2 prices. The functional price, what it costs to do the job, and the display price, what it costs to signal that you're doing well. A car that gets you to work costs, on average, $537 a month. That's the average used car payment in the United States as of the fourth quarter of 2025, according to Experian. A car that tells the parking lot you've arrived costs $767 a month. That's the average new car payment, same period, same source. The gap between them is $230 a month. That's the monthly cost of looking successful above what transportation actually requires. That gap has a name, the appearance markup, and it doesn't just live in the parking lot. It lives in your housing, your wardrobe, your phone, your dining choices, your neighborhood. Every category has a functional price and a display price. Most people have never isolated the gap. They've never totaled it. And they've definitely never seen what it compounds to. Before I show you where else this gap lives, here's what that car gap alone is worth. $230 a month. Invested at 7% for 30 years, that becomes $280,593. One category, one decision, nearly $300,000. The woman in the parking lot with the 2017 Civic, she made that decision 7 years ago. And she hasn't stopped compounding since. Force 2. Now, here's where the gap gets hidden. The average new car loan in the fourth quarter of 2025 was $43,582, financed over 69 months. 1 in 5 new car buyers is now paying over $1,000 a month. That's not a car payment, that's a second rent. And more than 20% of new car loans now stretch to 84 months, 7 years of payments on an asset that's losing value every single month. But here's the number that most people never see. $767 a month sounds manageable. Put it on a form right next to your income, and it feels like a reasonable line item. What doesn't go on that form, 767 times 69 is $52,923. $52,923. That's the total you'll pay for a car that was on sale for $43,000. The financing structure converts a large commitment into a small feeling monthly subscription. She never sees the aggregate, she sees the drip, and the drip always feels manageable right up until you total it. That's the design, not a conspiracy. Just math. 2 numbers that are never placed next to each other on the same form. Force 3. But the financing form isn't the only thing setting that number. Research from Deloitte found that consumers influenced by social media are 4 times more likely to spend more on purchases. 71% of consumers are more likely to buy based on social media referrals. And peer-reviewed research consistently shows that higher social media usage correlates with higher materialism and more spending on things that are visible to others. But it's not just the feed. It's the parking lot on Monday morning after a long weekend. It's the coworker who renovates her kitchen and mentions it casually. It's the LinkedIn post from someone in your industry with a new title and, in the background of their headshot, a very nice car. Nobody sends you an invoice. The environment just quietly sets the standard, and you pay the bill. Here's the quiet part. Nobody had to tell you to upgrade. The parking lot did, the feed did. The comparison happened automatically, the way comparisons do, and somewhere between seeing and deciding, the gap between function and appearance started looking like a necessity. The environment doesn't ask for your permission, it just raises the floor, and you pay the difference. You see that? Force 4. So what does all of this actually cost? Let me show you what happens when you add it up. The car gap alone, $230 a month, invested at 7% for 30 years is $280,593. That's one category. Now add housing, the gap between what a home costs to be safe, functional, and yours, and what a home costs to be in the right neighborhood, with the right address, with the right kitchen. Conservatively, for many households, that's another $200 a month above function. Add clothing, dining, technology, the subscriptions that came with a lifestyle upgrade. If your total appearance markup across all categories reaches $500 a month, and for many middle-income households, that's conservative, that becomes $609,985 over 30 years at 7%. At $750 a month, still a conservative aggregate for many households. The 30-year figure is $914,978, $914,000, and 61% of American households earning over $250,000 a year still drive Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords, not because they can't afford better. The data is clear on that. They drive them because somewhere along the way they did this math or they felt it and they kept the markup. Now let me show you what it looks like over a career. Marcus is 36. He earns $88,000 a year. He finances a new SUV every 4 years. Current payment $810 a month on a 72-month loan. His wardrobe runs actually $3,200 a year. He lives in an apartment in a neighborhood his coworkers would recognize $400 a month above what a comparable unit costs 2 miles away. None of these are dramatic choices. They're normal choices, the kind you make when the environment sets the standard and you meet it. Keisha is also 36, same $88,000. She bought a 3-year-old certified Honda CR-V for cash after 2 years of saving, no car payment, wardrobe, $1,400 a year. She lives 2 miles from Marcus in an apartment that is unit for unit, identical different zip code, same square footage, same appliances. She invests $750 a month, the approximate difference between her choices and Marcus's. So what does that actually become? $750 a month at 7% for 29 years from 36 to 65 is $844,626. Marcus and Keisha earn the same money for 29 years. Same city, same industry, same career arc. One retires with nearly $850,000 more than the other. The gap wasn't income. It was the appearance markup running quietly in the background for 3 decades. Every dollar that didn't go to the markup compounded. That's the other side of this math, the silence on the other end of the line. Every dollar Keisha didn't spend proving something became a dollar that worked for her while she slept. Force 5. Now, before I show you what to do with this, I want to address something directly. Some of you are in roles where appearance genuinely matters. Client-facing work, sales, certain industries where walking in the door already looking like you belong is part of the job. And I get that. I get why that matters. That's not fog, that's function with a different definition. A well-chosen professional wardrobe that helps you close a deal has a return. That's a real calculation, and it's a different one. A $200 blazer that lands a client is an investment with measurable return on investment. A $65,000 SUV that impresses your neighbor has a different return. And if you've run the math, you know what that return actually is. This isn't about never paying the markup. Some of it is worth paying in your career, in your relationships, in the things that genuinely change how your day feels. The question isn't whether to pay it. The question is whether you see it. If you can look at the gap between function and appearance, calculate what it compounds to, and still choose it, that's not waste. That's a decision you own. The problem isn't the spending. The problem is the fog paying the markup without ever knowing the total. If you saw the number and still want the car, that's your call. At least now you know what the call costs. Here's how to find your number. This week, calculate your car appearance markup. Take your current monthly payment, or if you own your car outright, use zero. Compare it to $537, the average used car payment. The gap between them is your car markup. For most people who finance new, that gap is somewhere between $100 and $400 a month. 10 minutes. You'll have a real number for the first time. Also this week, run the 30-year compound on that gap, any free compound interest calculator. Plug in your monthly gap, 7%, 30 years, 5 minutes. Most people have never seen this number. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This month, walk through your last 3 months of bank statements and tag each purchase function or appearance, not as a guilt exercise, as a totaling exercise. What did the thing actually need to cost? What did you pay above that? At the end of 30 minutes, you'll have your total monthly appearance markup across all categories. This is the number that changes behavior, not because someone told you to spend less, but because you finally see what you've been spending. Then redirect, at least start with at least $100 a month of that identified markup to an automated investment. One account setup, one automatic transfer, $100 a month at 7% for 25 years is $81,007. Not life-changing on day one. Life-changing on year 25. If you're in your 40s, the math still works. $230 a month. Just the car gap from 40 to 67 at 7% is $220,134. One category, one redirection. From a decision you can make this week. If you're starting from near zero, if the budget is tight and $100 a month isn't a realistic redirect right now, here's what the data says about your position. If you're already driving the older car, already skipping the upgrades, already living without the markup, you're practicing the exact same first principle as the people in the Experian data. The millionaires driving Toyotas aren't doing something exotic. They're doing what you're already doing. The only missing piece is the second step, redirecting even $50 a month into something that compounds. $50 a month for 20 years at 7% is $26,046. That's not a rounding error, that's a down payment. Your position isn't behind. I want you to hear that. It's a starting line nobody told you that you were already standing on. And here's the part that doesn't get said enough. A $767 car payment on a $50,000 income is 18.4% of gross. On a $150,000 income, it's 6.1%. The markup is regressive. It costs the most as a percentage to the people with the least to give. Seeing it is how you stop paying more than you have to. Back to the parking lot. The 2017 Civic is still there. Same car, same 7 years. The coworkers still drive past it every morning and make their quiet assumptions that she couldn't afford better, that she settled, that the car says something unflattering about her choices. They see 2 cars. The math sees 2 net worths. The coworkers leasing BMWs and financing new SUVs aren't making a bad choice because they don't know better. They're making it because nobody ever showed them the total. The monthly payment looks manageable. The aggregate was never on the form. The environment set the standard, and they met it the way most people do automatically, without a calculation, without ever seeing the gap between the function and the display. She saw the gap, she ran the number, and then she made a choice not to deprive herself but to own the decision. $412,000 in index funds isn't the result of a higher income or a lucky investment or a secret. It's what happens when you redirect the markup year after year while everyone around you is paying the bill without ever seeing the total. You can pay the appearance markup and know exactly what it costs. Or you can keep paying it without ever seeing the total. Either way, the math is running.